For centuries, Jupiter was our silent giant, the great storm world, a roiling sphere of gas and lightning, too massive to touch and too distant to care. Astronomers called it a failed star, a planet too cold to ignite. They said it had no solid surface, no pulse, no reason to change. It was constant, predictable, safe, until last Monday. At exactly 2:14 a.m. Universal Time Coordinated, the Hubble Deep Field Relay captured a movement inside the Great Red Spot, something stirring beneath the storm. At first, analysts assumed it was another atmospheric shift, one of the many wind shears that carved through its crimson bands. But then, over the course of 3 hours, the pattern stabilized. The storm's edges curved inward. A darker ring appeared at the center, and inside it, a pupil formed. It blinked, and then it looked back. Across observatories worldwide, telescopes locked on the same frame. What had always been chaotic suddenly seemed deliberate, symmetrical, almost organic. The data was checked, rechecked, then quietly restricted. But the image leaked within hours. A vast iris suspended in Jupiter's storm belt, glowing faintly in reflected sunlight. It was too large to comprehend, wide enough to swallow continents, deep enough to feel alive. Those who watched it longest reported strange sensations, a weight behind their eyes, a low thrum in their ears, a feeling like they were being observed through the telescope instead of the other way around. One astronomer fainted, another deleted his feed and smashed his camera. By morning, the official channels went silent. NASA's live tracking froze. The ESA's Jupiter page redirected to a 404 error. Even amateur astronomy websites began reporting connectivity issues. Yet somehow, every household telescope, every camera, every backyard lens started drifting on its own, all pointing toward the same place in the sky. That night, the signal began. It didn't come from NASA or any known frequency. It came from the empty space between. A rhythmic pulse, too structured to be random but too alien to be decoded. It wasn't static, it was breath. Deep, slow, like thunder exhaling through the void. At first, only a few radio enthusiasts heard it. Then entire communication networks began to distort. Clocks froze mid-second, speakers hummed with invisible tremors, and even unplugged microphones vibrated like something was speaking through the air itself. Reporters called it interference. Engineers said it was cosmic radiation. But the tone, that slow, steady pulse, carried something unmistakable, intent. On the third day, during a live interview, Dr. Alan Mercer from the California Observatory was asked about the signal's frequency. He smiled nervously and said it wasn't from any known transmission band, that it seemed to breathe in sync with his heart rate. Then his voice faltered. His hands trembled. The camera picked up a faint rumble beneath his words, like an echo following him half a second late. He said, "I think it's listening." Then the feed cut. Mercer's family reported him missing the next morning. By the fifth day, the pulse spread globally. Radio stations across continents reported identical interference, a deep hum threading through every broadcast, repeating every 6 seconds. It didn't stop when devices were unplugged. It didn't weaken in underground shelters. It just existed, omnipresent and steady, like the heartbeat of the planet. And the machines began to change. Security cameras twitched toward the sky, their lenses adjusting without command. Digital compasses spun and held steady on Jupiter's coordinate. Drones hovered midair, refusing manual input. Every piece of technology capable of seeing began looking in the same direction. Then came the red glow. At first, meteorologists thought it was atmospheric refraction, high-altitude dust scattering sunlight. But the color didn't fade at sunrise. Even during daylight, faint scarlet halos shimmered behind the clouds, pulsing softly in rhythm with the signal. Night after night, the glow deepened, painting entire skylines in a color that looked alive, a crimson shimmer, as if the sky itself were flushing with breath. Weather models broke down. Satellites disagreed on temperatures. The northern lights stretched too far south, bending into new shapes. Some even formed circles, perfect, unbroken rings, hovering motionless above major cities for hours. Then the hum began to speak, not in words, but in sensation. People reported pressure in their chests, rhythmic throbs that synced with their heartbeat. Hospitals filled with patients suffering from identical symptoms, dizziness, elevated heart rates, and a strange metallic taste in their mouths whenever they looked up. They all described the same feeling, like someone, somewhere, was watching through them. Broadcast engineers found the pulse embedded deep in the electromagnetic spectrum, below any known range, below measurable light itself. It wasn't just in the airwaves, it was inside them. Then came the message. At 3:11 a.m., the last active telescope in Chile recorded a whisper buried under the static. It's not looking at us. It's looking for us. No one claimed responsibility. The observatory shut down minutes later. From that point, human observation became impossible. Any device aimed toward Jupiter overheated and died within seconds. Optical glass fractured. Radio telescopes emitted subsonic feedback that rattled concrete foundations. And yet, every night, people still looked up. They couldn't help it. There's something about curiosity that ignores fear. The same impulse that led us to stare into storms and name constellations. Those who dared to watch said the stars were no longer where they belonged. Constellations shifted positions, subtly at first, then drastically. What used to be Orion now bled into Scorpius. Entire patterns vanished overnight, replaced by swirling bands of red light that twisted like veins across the sky. The shimmer moves now. You can't track it on radar, but you can feel it, that faint vibration under your skin when you're outside after midnight. Birds fall silent when it happens. Dogs whimper. Electronic screens flicker with brief flashes of impossible imagery, swirling clouds, red oceans, eyes half open in darkness. Governments have stopped commenting. The global space agencies have not issued a statement in over a week. Civilian observatories report loss of atmospheric transparency, a phrase that doesn't appear in any meteorological database. If you listen closely, you'll notice something else. The silence between the pulses is getting shorter. It's learning rhythm. It's synchronizing. Scientists once believed Jupiter had no core, that it was gas all the way down. But the new data, recovered before the feeds went dead, suggests density spikes forming near the center, dense enough to refract electromagnetic energy. Something solid, something awakening. And beneath that, a secondary pulse, faster, like a heartbeat answering another heartbeat. It's not a planet anymore. Step outside tonight, if you dare. You'll see the shimmer behind the stars, faint, slow, red. Watch long enough, and you'll notice it shifting. Not drifting like clouds, but focusing. It narrows when you blink. It widens when you breathe. It feels you noticing it. Every telescope on Earth, powered or rusted, broken or active, now points to the same coordinate. Every unpowered camera faces east just before dawn. Every compass tilts 3 degrees off magnetic north. The world isn't ending, it's aligning. The last transmission from the Deep Space Array was captured in fragment, a digital voice repeating through distortion. Synchronization complete. The sky hasn't been normal since. Some nights the moon casts 2 shadows. Other nights, none at all. The stars shimmer like reflections off moving water. It's as if something vast and unseen is pressing closer, sliding just behind the curtain of space. And through that curtain, the eye watches, still, silent, open. They say if you stare too long, your pulse will start to change, slower at first, then perfectly in time with the hum. That's when the sound begins to fade. Not because it's gone, but because it's inside you now. If you go outside tonight, don't look directly at the sky. The clouds are still glowing, faint and red, breathing with the rhythm of something too big to name. You'll feel it in the air, in the ground, in your veins. And when you finally lift your eyes, you'll see it. The vast iris of Jupiter, glowing faintly through the haze, wide awake, unblinking. It's not watching us. It never was. It was searching. And whatever it was searching for, it's found it. Jupiter isn't a planet anymore. It's awake. And whatever opened its eye that night hasn't closed it since.